All right, the time is now 9 a.m. The date is February the 4th, 2025. We will call to order the meeting for the City of Statesboro Mayor and Council. We will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Sherry Barr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in the sight of my God. This morning I'd like to share a Native American prayer attributed to the Chinook Nation. We call upon the earth, our planet home, with its beautiful depths and soaring heights, its vitality and abundance of life. And together we ask that it teach us and show us the way. We call upon the mountains, the Cascades, the Olympics, high green valleys, meadows filled with wildflowers, the snows that never melt, the summits of intense silence, and we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the waters that rim the earth, horizon to horizon, that flow in our rivers and streams, that fall upon gardens and fields, and we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the land which grows our food, the nurturing soil, the fertile fields, the abundant gardens and orchards, and we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the forest, the great trees reaching strongly to the sky, with earth in their roots and the heavens in their branches, the fir and the pine and the cedar, and we ask them to teach us and show us the way. We call upon the creatures of the fields and forest and the seas, our brothers, sisters, wolves, deer, eagle and dove, the great whales and the dolphin, the beautiful orca and salmon who share the Northwest home, and we ask them to teach us and show us the way. We call upon all those who have lived on this earth, our ancestors and our friends who dreamed the best for future generations, and upon whose lives our lives are built. And with thanksgiving, we call upon them to teach us and show us the way. And lastly, we call upon all that we hold most sacred, the presence and power of the great spirit of love and truth, which flows through all the universe, to be with us, to teach us and show us the way. May it be so. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, we'll go down to agenda item 3, which is recognition and public presentations. Today we have a presentation of a proclamation recognizing February the 21st, 2025 as Arbor Day in the city of Statesboro and in recognition of the city's participation in the Tree City USA program. I would like to read the proclamation, and the proclamation reads as follows. A proclamation by the Mayor and City Council of Statesboro, Georgia, Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of businesses, business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Jonathan McCullough, Mayor of the City of Statesboro, do hereby proclaim February 21st, 2025 is Arbor Day in the City of Statesboro, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 4th day of February in the year 2025. If we'll have our tree council to come forward.
I think Sean wanted to say a few words here.
Yeah.
I was gonna, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Mayor and City Council, I just wanted to just thank you for reading the proclamation. And a lot of the benefits of trees are stated in the proclamation. So that is awesome. And I don't really need, I had some things that I was going to say about trees, but pretty much everything was said in there. But also, our Arbor Day event this year is going to be on Georgia Arbor Day, which is February 21st. Georgia Arbor Day is celebrated at the end of really what we consider the best time to plant trees in Georgia. Usually, the best time to plant trees in Georgia is end of November, December, January, into February. Because we have such hot summers, it gives the trees a chance to develop their root system, get out there so they can take in more water when it starts getting really, really, really hot. And it's only getting hotter, so the earlier you plant your trees, the better. Now, trees can be planted at any time of the year, but it is better to plant them during the dormant season in Georgia. So our Arbor Day is at the end of what's considered the best planting time for trees. The National Arbor Day is in April, but we do not do April. We do February. So, and our event is going to be at the Statesboro Food Bank at 4 p.m. on Georgia Arbor Day. Like I said, February 21st. We're going to do like a food drive. So people can bring food items, as many as you want, because the more, the better. And you can also, every food item that you bring, you get a raffle ticket to win a fruit tree that Southern Scapes Nursery has donated. And we're also going to have a tree planting ceremony, and we're going to have Girl Scouts out there that are going to, last year they kind of helped us plant the tree, put the soil in the hole, the planting hole. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. And so we invite everybody here, all mayor and city council, as well as everybody here in the whole city to come to that event. So we appreciate it. And Statesboro is a Tree City USA and Georgia Forestry Commission. Some representatives are here to present the Tree City USA flag. We are over 30 years. I have blanked out on the year that we are. And once again, I'm Sean Diddy, the chair of the Statesboro Tree Board, City of Statesboro Tree Board. I do have some tree board members here, as I will introduce them. I'm going to have them come up also, and then I'm going to introduce the Georgia Forestry Commission representatives. Y'all can come on up, the Georgia Forestry Commission representatives. They're going to present the flag. Paul Kitchens, the first gentleman there. He's the Bullock County Chief Ranger. They're the guys that go out and fight the fires in the woods and burn the woods off for shrub burning. This is Nick Cloyd, his a ranger that works for him. And this is Sam Smith. He is actually, I think, covers 48 counties. He's the urban and community forester specialist, forestry specialist for our area. And he can come and do trainings for the city for free on whatever we want, like tree stuff, plantings, pruning, whatever. He does a lot. So anyway, these gentlemen are going to present the flag, and I guess, do you want the city and the mayor and city council to come up? Okay, so here y'all go. Let me make sure that this is not upside down like it was last year. Okay. And then after they present this backwards, y'all. After they present the flag, some of my tree board members are here. Virginia Russell, if you would come ahead up. Walter Gibson, as well as Jim Thibodeau. Y'all can come on up and
We want to step into it.
yeah, we'll get the picture with them first.
We're going to come in. Okay.
And then I don't know if y'all want everybody to see if they're in this picture.
Right there. You the chief.
Just the
Down and then
up there too. Okay, and then we can go up, y'all. They said they want the chalkboard up there too at the same time.
So we might have to do 2 rows because we have so
Okay, that's fine.
So our shorter people in the front.
I
maybe.
can
I don't mind. I'll take 2 sets forward. And see if we can.
That's all I'm trying to do.
I don't want to like get up front. No, I'm tall. You can stand straight up. You're tall.
Oh, there you go.
Sean, can you take like 2 steps back and leave behind you? Sorry, I don't know your name.
This is Virginia. Sorry, Virginia.
Mr. Walter, can you take one more step in?
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. That's good.
Get a picture of the mayor present.
Proclamation. Proclamation.
Get the trees back up there.
Oh, Virginia.
They back there passing out hugs.
They want us back. I'm so sorry. They want us back out here. Sorry about that, sir.
There you go. It's heavy now.
And Sherry Barr also comes to all our meetings. She's always at our meetings.
Mayor, council.
Sorry. We usually have Richard Smiley kind of organizing those, so I apologize.
I might have y'all take
We're gonna
2
need y'all.
steps back.
Back, okay.
Get with the proclamation.
Sorry.
And Miss Virginia Kennedy in the back. Can't see her.
You see her? You see Virginia? She's
You
happy.
got to move to the center, so
Yeah.
Virginia, so we can see you.
So Jim, let's have you take a step this way. Yeah.
John, step up just so I know what you're doing.
Oh, actually. I got it. Come on.
Make sure you can see Tangy.
Yeah. Can you tilt it together?
Yeah, sorry. You didn't tell me that. I'm trying
There we
to.
go.
1, 2, 3. All right, that's good. I think we got it. Thank you.
First time.
All right. So we're gonna put this.
That's yours.
Oh.
Yeah, that's yours.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Right. And so we'll move down to agenda item 4, which is public comments in regards to the agenda. Are there any comments? Are there any comments in regards to the agenda? All right, thank you. We'll move down to agenda item 5, consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes for the January the 28th work session, council minute, and executive sessions. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 6, which is a hearing to consider a motion to revoke a massage parlor license for Lisa Therapeutic Massage located at 609 Brandon Street on the grounds that illegal activity has occurred at the business location. This hearing is being conducted pursuant to the City of Statesboro Ordinance 18-141, A and 18-143. The purpose of this hearing for mayor and council shall operate as a quasi-judicial body to determine if the massage parlor license should be revoked due to illegal acts occurring at Lisa's Therapeutic Massage. At this point, at this moment, do we want to open the hearing? Is there a second? All those in favor? All right, let's call upon Captain Jared Akins.
Good morning.
Captain, is supposed to give us some testimony in regards to the matter.
Sure, I'll give you a brief on basically the investigation and what led up to it. So this particular location has been the subject of basically tips and confidential information that's come in over the last 2 or 3 years. All of it, to this point, unsubstantiated. The people that were calling us and reporting that there was sexual activity taking place at this location did not want to be a part of it, did not want to name themselves, did not want to testify in any way. So none of those tips led to anything substantive. In 2023, August of 2023, the patrol officers took a report for a client at the location at Lisa's, who reported that he had been sexually battered by one of the masseuses during the course of a massage. He objected strongly to that, attempted to call 911, and indicated that the staff interfered with his ability to use his cell phone to call 911. He later left the business and filed a report. The patrol officers responded back later on to try and make contact with who the masseuse would have been and identify that individual for prosecution potentially. And the business was closed. They never could make contact with that actual masseuse. So that report just remained on file and never led anywhere. In 2024, last year, the end of last year, our impact team received information, again, that sexual activity was taking place at Lisa's under the guise of massage, and there was some scheme involved in that to where you couldn't just walk in necessarily and receive those services. There was some keywords and some key indicators that would indicate that that's what you were there for. So once they started digging into that and were able to look through some online reviews, talk to some folks, they thought they had established a pattern that would enable them to go in and in an undercover capacity see if there was any truth to those particular allegations. Also, there was a website that they discovered that on which Lisa's was actually reviewed, and that particular website had some fairly unusual, I guess, and concerning preambles on it. The website was reviewing a number of different places across the country that offered those kind of services, and the name itself on the website is a little bit unusual. But one of the parts of the preamble said that the website itself on which Lisa's was reviewed, that, let's see, the website in particular has zero tolerance for underage prostitution, any types of sexual acts between unconsenting adults, which include sex trafficking. And that's just for a website that reviewed massage locations and actually provided people guidance on where to go. It was a little bit unusual, so that obviously stirred Impact's interest in that. So in November of last year, they equipped one of the officers with audio video recording devices and actually sent that individual, that officer, into the business. That officer made contact with the manager and asked to speak with a particular masseuse that there was some suspicion based on the reviews and based on the other tips that may be one of the masseuses who was conducting sexual favors under the guise of doing the massages. The manager informed the officer that female was no longer working there, but referred him to another employee there. The officer then was escorted back to a private room, and during the course of the massage, that particular masseuse conducted a sexual act on the officer. The officer made an excuse to immediately leave. Again, this is all audio tape and video tape. So he immediately left and briefed up the rest of the members of the impact team, who went back and arrested that particular masseuse for the sexual act that she committed while doing the massage. Further investigation led them to actually speak with the manager of Lisa's, and during the course of that, they discovered that the original masseuse who had been charged initially was already back on the job and working there. And during the course of the interview with the manager, they established probable cause to arrest her for basically keeping a place in which sexual acts and prostitution, is the official term, was being committed. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Both of those individuals are still pending adjudication in state court. So that's the brief summary of facts based on how we got here.
Thank you. And so we want to give the opportunity for the licensee to speak against revocation. Is the licensee here?
She is, Mr. Mayor, she's beside me here, but I'm here to represent her.
You will? When you come to the mic, please, state your name.
I'm Michael Classens, and I'm here to represent Ms. who is the owner of this business. Just in responding to Mr. Aiken's summary, I know that Ms. Hu purchased the business in late December of 2023. So during that period of time, including the August of 2023 report that was mentioned, she wasn't the owner of the business. Other than that, there haven't been any complaints substantiated against any activities in the business under this lady's ownership. You have the internet stuff, which is anonymous, random, who knows? Nobody's identified any of those people. You had this website, which once again, pure anonymity. There's no reliability, nothing. These charges are pending. The young lady who is alleged to have committed the acts on November 14th was arrested. Ms. Hu, the owner, was not there at the time or was not made aware. The next day, November 15th, when I believe it was Detective Briley, but I'll stand corrected if it was a different officer, but an officer came to her and told her, I've seen the videotape, so I've got a little bit of an edge on you, but I don't think there's any dispute about what's on those videos. She genuinely expresses shock. In fact, she starts out using what little English she's able to command by saying, "That's a lie." The police officer assures her not only that it's true, but he notices the woman's still there. Ms. Hu says, "Well, then I'll fire her," which she does that day, as soon as she discovered that there was this allegation made. From that point on, no complaints. And again, I point out to you, as we stand here today, there's an allegation against the young lady for committing the act. The allegation against Ms. Hu in state court is for maintaining a house for prostitution. I realize we're not in court. Quasi-judicial means a little bit, but not really. So the burden of proof is not quite what it is. Nevertheless, there is some burden of proof that I think is required before you take away somebody's right to earn a living in a business. She applied for her license. She jumped through all the hoops, and I've reviewed the code. She's licensed otherwise to perform her profession. She's licensed by the city through the business license process. And I'll be honest with you, it's a pretty strenuous process that one must go through in order to be licensed to do business under these circumstances. But she checked all the boxes, went into business, and the instant she found out that one of her employees, so to speak, had gone rogue, she's fired. Now, maintaining a house of prostitution requires that there be money involved. The courts that have looked at it say that the offense is defined by its commercialization. What happened on the occasion Mr. Akins talked about was, and they've got a menu, so to speak, that lists the prices, $50 for a half-hour massage. That's what was asked for. That's what was paid. $50 for the half-hour massage. No extra money, no mention by anybody of any other activities, nothing whatsoever other than that. And the record will bear me out that the individual who went in with $70, who knows why, but it plainly said $50 for a massage. And when he left, that's what he paid. Nobody said, how about a little more or anything like that. There was absolutely no commercialization and wouldn't have been, because whomever was doing this would have then exposed themselves to Ms. Hu, and she would have done just what she did on November 15th. She would have fired him on the spot. Point is, this lady has been a law-abiding business person in the city. there is an allegation against her based on the activity that the other woman did. And I make no comment on that. There are allegations, and of course those are going to be tested in the court system, as are the allegations against her. But it isn't that Ms. Hu directly was involved. In fact, as soon as she was informed that this activity had allegedly happened the day before, she fired the woman, and she told the officer that, and the woman has been fired. She was fired that day. This lady has met the city's requirements on the front end to have a business. She's done nothing to lose the right to pursue her chosen profession. And what we have now is an allegation that is, I guess you could call it a second hand, because the request is to revoke Ms. Hu's license to operate her business in Statesboro based on an allegation that somebody else did something wrong. There's no evidence whatsoever that Ms. Hu knew about it, encouraged it, or hired the woman. There was no commercialization of the act that's at the heart of the allegation. And there's no reason whatsoever why this lady at this time should lose the right to conduct her business in Statesboro.
All right. Is there anyone else for or against Ms. Johnson? All right, seeing that there is none, we do want to open this up for council discussion. Is there any discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
could we have our city attorney advise us of the options here?
Yes, of course, Councilwoman Barr. The options under the code are that the mayor and council may suspend, may revoke the license, so there could be dismissal or revocation, or of course, council could take no action, not float a motion to do anything.
Thank you. And could we further inquire what the process is? I mean, I appreciate the police department doing their job, but I'm also wondering about the due process of law and when this is, of us revoking a license before the courts have ruled. So that's why I'm leaning towards suspension rather than revocation. But I'm also wondering about what kind of a timeline. If we suspend a license now, is she going to be out of business for 6 months before she gets to court? Do we have any knowledge of any of that? Okay, thank you.
I realize you wanted the city attorney to comment a minute ago, but a suspension is the same as a revocation for all practical purposes. She can't do business. Your guess is as good as mine as to how long it's going to take to go through court. 4 or 5 years ago, I might have had a guess, but then COVID backed everything up by 2 years, and not everybody has recovered from that. And I have no clue. Now, generally speaking, there are cases that are in state court constantly. I would venture to say that every day people are arrested. And it's kind of like going to the movies. When you get there, you stand in line until it's your turn. So there are probably hundreds of pending cases that are going to be handled one way or another before this one comes up, but it will come up. 6 months, a year maybe at the outside, and to be realistic in state court. But now, her case, I think, is largely dependent on what happens with the other case, at least in part. But the allegations are different, and I hope I've made that part clear. The other lady is charged with committing an act. What Ms. Hu is charged with is maintaining a business.
Mayor, I object. We were asked a direct question about how long this would take. We've gone back to argument here instead of council discussion. I think we need to get this back to council discussion.
Well, this ties into the timeline. And if the other lady, for example, is found not guilty, then the allegation against Ms. Hu must collapse. And so, although they were arrested close in time, there is a fair chance that Ms. Hu's disposition will necessarily wait until after the other lady's case is disposed of. So again, I don't know that a year is out of the
6
way.
months to a year is the timeline that you're looking at.
And that's just a guess, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any further discussion by council? Go ahead.
I just was gonna say, I'd like to hear the other council members thinking on it.
I just want to double check, the girl who was doing the act, she was fired, correct? Okay.
You can have a seat, Mr. Class. Lady who was
I
doing,
would, whatever investigator agency says, the protection agency says, I'm not privy to that level of investigation.
Captain,
yeah.
the one who was charged with doing the actual act, she is, do you know if she's no longer working there?
I don't have any way of knowing whether she's working there or not. We've not been back since. It was my understanding from the manager that she had been, but there again, that's relying completely on her word that that was the case, and we don't have any way of verifying that. So.
Yeah, and I can give my feedback to council. This is, I'm very concerned. There's not too much that's gonna go on in my house that I don't know about. And so if a business owner has this going on inside of their business and they're not aware of it, then that raises a red flag for me. But with that being said, I would be open to maybe a motion from council, further discussion with council, to a suspension pending the outcome of the judicial process. That way, we can get a definitive answer to what the judicial process answer is on this particular topic. But there's so many red flags that's going off in my head in regards to this, not just the prostitution, but human trafficking. There's a whole host of things that's going off in my head right now. And I personally, in clear conscience, I could not support the door staying open until we get some definitive answers. And I think those definitive answers will come through the judicial process. So it's still open for council discussion. Councilwoman Schaefer, did you want to say something?
I just need some clarification. So before or after the illicit acts were taking place at this particular business, the licensee was not the owner? The current licensee was not the owner?
No, at the time of the arrest, she was the owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when these acts were taking place, she was actually the owner?
Yeah.
I might clarify that.
We're in council discussion at this moment, so
Okay.
you'll be called. The council wants to hear from you, then I'll call.
All right.
Anything further from council?
Yes. Ms. Chambers, my understanding, and like Kate, I haven't been privy, I've only heard and read the paper. But that some of the things that were referred to historically were before this person owns it. This person just bought it in 23, and there was reference to things before that. But she was the owner when our police department investigated and charged someone. And they went back and told her she was charged. My concern is innocent until proven guilty, and that we're taking away somebody's livelihood. I mean, when I first saw it on the agenda and then we had to postpone because of the storm, I was thinking, oh, well, let's just suspend it until the courts work. But I'm also hearing the attorney's plea and thinking about, we're shutting somebody down, whoever all else works there. That didn't have anything to do with this, presumably. I don't know. I'm concerned that we want folks to stand innocent until they've been proven otherwise. And if we go ahead and suspend their license or revoke their license, that's not in keeping with that.
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
That's
I was gonna say, we would take a liability also if we leave it open and someone else comes in and commit those same acts. We'll be liable as if we let her keep her business. So we have to have that part in consideration as well. It's a heavy decision, but if we leave it with her in action, then if further acts are done pending this investigation, we're kind of like responsible. That's just my take, sorry.
I agree with both of them. Could we suspend them for 2 weeks? Because I do have questions that I would like to ask, the captain and Mr. Classes. I can't think straight. I've had COVID for the last 10 days. I have questions that I would like to ask, and I want to write them out first, and then have those questions answered for 2 weeks from now. And then make a decision, suspend it at least for 2 weeks. Until the next meeting. Or table it. Can we do that?
Captain, can you tell us before we answer that question, are they currently operating right now?
To the best of my understanding, yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you answer possible docket for the court?
Do you have an idea of a docket timeline for this particular?
I do not. Mr. Classes may. I can look up the citations on Peach Corp, but I'd have to do that from the office.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. Okay, any further discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering if the city attorney has any further suggestion or direction to offer.
Just the concern about innocent until proven guilty. We do quasi judicial hearings with alcohol violations all the time. They're not dependent on the outcome of the underlying court case. But no, the council's options are revoke it, suspend it for any period of time, not necessarily until the adjudication of the state court case. At any period of time, the council decides or take no action on the matter would be the three options. But I can't speak to how long it would take for anyone's making a comment on when it would be adjudicated as straight conjecture. So we don't know how long that will be.
Okay.
So, what other, Mr. Green?
So I was going to ask, if it's okay, Mayor. So typically, when you're thinking about alcohol license, someone violates the alcohol law, and you take administrative action, what type of suspensions do you typically see?
Typically, it's a graduated penalty schedule. The first one's no suspension, $1,000 fine. And we also take into account what we know the state's going to do, what we know the Department of Revenue is going to do on those. So we try to make them extreme. So I believe on the second violation, it's a 1 to 3 day suspension. On the third, 3 to 5 day suspension, and on the fourth, revocation. That's how we do it on alcohol violations.
So if council, so if council chose to act in a similar position as the alcohol and wanted to penalize this business, they could do it without necessarily closing the business, but they could assess a financial penalty to this business.
The code does not allow for a monetary fine to be paid on it, but it does allow for suspension or revocation. It does not give any time frame on the suspension. It's always leaves that at the discretion of their council.
I say 2 weeks suspension until at least I can ask some more questions in 2 weeks at the next meeting.
We're not trying to put anybody out of business.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody's gotta make a living. We gotta be able to sleep at night, and until we hear further, about what actually went on, we just might need a little time. That's not saying we believe anybody's innocent or guilty here. I think that's kind of the only thing we can do.
So we can do what? I'm sorry, what?
I think the only thing we can do here is probably either table or move for some sort of suspension. Now, I don't know if anybody would want to table or move up to a suspension, or if anybody would like to, propose a period for that. But those are my thoughts. I mean, you know, nobody's guilty until proven, so there's not even been a case here, but we have to do something in the meantime until we figure out more. But again, it's somebody's livelihood. We're not trying to take that away at all.
Ms. Johnson had the perfect point though. We will be liable if we keep it open.
To me, this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. We had an arrest made at the location. That is a fact. There are listed charges in the arrest. For us to allow it to remain open, that is highly irresponsible of the council, especially when something else could occur there. And there's so many red flags that's going off for me, not just prostitution, human trafficking. There's so many things that's associated with this beast. And for us to walk away and for it to still be open, for me, I don't want to revoke the license. Let's get through the end of the judicial process and allow the decision to be made there. But to knowing what's been presented by our own PD, to allow the doors to remain open, to me, that's irresponsible.
Well, I can recall a situation that where some illegal activity was taking place at a particular business and we shut that business down. So if we're gonna operate in the spirit of fairness, we're going off of what the, just pretty much how the license is set up, or the business is set up. And if you do something illegal, the process is we're gonna suspend you or revoke you. And we've done that before. So I just think that with this situation, you know, based upon what was taking place, that we follow the trend that we've been, you know, doing so far. I mean, I can bring up the situation where the business was shut down and we go back to that, but that business was closed immediately. So.
For a lesser charge.
Yeah, so this is the same thing.
Mr. Mayor, may I clarify, Mr. Riggs' proposition was that we table it for 2 weeks and they stay open, or that we suspend for 2 weeks?
And then I have more questions that I'd like to ask the captain, and have a lot of questions I'd like to ask. And I can get those answered in 2 weeks and have a better understanding by then. Suspend it for 2 weeks and then reevaluate in 2 weeks.
So we could, if we support your motion that we suspend for 2 weeks, it would be back on the agenda to decide whether to continue or leave it at our next meeting? Is that what is proposed?
I guess that's what I'm proposing. Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
Thank you for clarifying.
So suspension, from my understanding, is that we're just shutting you down until we gather more information about what needs to transpire. We're not saying that you cannot operate, period. What is it? Clarify to me what suspension is.
Suspension means that the operation is stopped. It means
Revoke is,
the business license is done.
okay, they can never open up a business again.
I don't know about never, but yeah. Yeah.
United States. Okay.
So.
Well, I'm kind of clear. Well, I think I am. I'm a little conflicted a little bit, but I think that we should go ahead with the suspension until we all find out information as to how to move forward with this. That's my stance on it, and I'm not saying for like 2 weeks. This needs to take some time, and I'm not trying to put anybody out of business or stop anybody from working, but just based upon how we've operated before, this is no different.
So, council, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we suspend the license for 2 weeks and reevaluate in 2 weeks. I'll have a better understanding of what occurred. And then in 2 weeks, we can to spend until adjudicated or a vote in 2 weeks.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed?
I'm opposed to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel like we should just meet, for my background.
Yeah.
That's just me speaking, I would suspend, and it's whatever courts play out, that's between her courts.
All right, so on a 3-2 vote, the license will be suspended for 2 weeks.
So you vote for
Who is,
Yeah.
what is your vote?
What is your vote?
Yeah, I was-
Because I assume that you.
So I was voting, for right now to suspend, and as we gather more information, obviously there won't be any opening of the business, so if we need 2 more weeks to make the final decision, the business won't be operating for 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks, we'll relook at it after, some investigation, but I'm fine with suspending for 2 weeks.
All right, and so that's a 3-2 call there. 3-2 in favor, Barr, Riggs and, Henry. And then opposed is Schaefer and Johnson. Okay. All right, so we'll see this again in 2 weeks. Is there a motion to close the hearing?
Second.
All those in favor? All right, we move down to agenda item 7, which is consideration for a motion to approve resolution 2025-04, a resolution to abandon the 17-foot wide plus alley from North Walnut Street to North Main Street, which runs between the shopping center. Mr. King.
Mayor and members of the council, last week, we took some action, and transferred some property to, DSBA in order to help move along, the development. And part of that is that, there is an alleyway, that runs from Walnut Street, I think they call it Prosper, Street Extension, that we're recommending that you abandon. And so this action today, if you take it, would actually abandon that alleyway. What that would do is, going forward, we're trying to position the SBA and the developer in the best way possible in order to be able to redevelop Simmons Shopping Center and all of that property with a significant investment in downtown Statesboro. And this is just a needed act that would need to take place. Now, we'll say when you abandon, I think it is important for you to understand when you abandon a right-of-way. What happens is, half of the property goes to one property owner and half goes to the other. And so, but for right now, the important piece is the abandonment of that alleyway in order that DSDA would be able to use it as hopefully some leverage. They have the significant investment in downtown Statesboro that we're hoping to see. So we do recommend this action to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any conversation by council? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right, we move on to agenda item 8, consideration of a motion to award a contract in the amount of $106,000 to Fred Foley Construction Incorporated for the construction of a restroom facility for the streets division and a restroom facility for the sanitation division at Public Works. Funding will be provided by Solid Waste Collection Fund, income in 2019 supplies. Mr. Penny, anything you can add to that?
I don't know that I can add any more here. We do recommend it.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion by council? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll move on to agenda item 9, consideration of a motion to approve a sole source purchase of OptiBrand continuous monitoring and adaptive control hardware in the amount of $49,355 by Alliances as part of the Stormwater STM-36 project. This contract is for the hardware for the continuous monitoring and adaptive control system. Specifications to be installed as part of the Lake Sal project that's recommended by the project engineer, GMC. This project is funded from 2013 SPLOST. Mr. Penny, anything to add to that?
Mayor, the important thing is this piece of equipment is really important for future activities at Lake Sal. What we're trying to do is purchase that equipment so we have it. Will be in place when we actually get the work going in the Lake Sal project. So therefore, we do recommend approval too.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion by council? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor? All right, we move on to agenda item 10, which is other business from city council. Is there any other business from city council? All right, seeing that there is none, we move down to city manager comments. Is there any city manager, are there any city manager comments?
Mayor, members of the council, I have several things I just want to share with you. First off, in your FYI packet, we did have a report from Savannah JDA Workforce Development Plan last week when Anna Chafin from RISE presented to you. She said that she was going to provide that executive summary so that you have possession of the executive summary. We can also email it out to you. It's not really that long, but I think the information that I was at home watching y'all, but obviously it hit home when she presented, and that is so important for the future of our community to hear that kind of information. So you have that. The other thing we have in your FYI packet is a memo about Cobblestone Place. And the reason I want to bring this up to you is we're having a lot of development going on in our community. And development is important, but we also need for council, and this may be a topic for our city council retreat. When we have developments, we have to develop to our city standards. When they develop roads to city standards, they're developed in a way that once those roads are completed, those roads can be turned over to the city. But if a developer has an option to make them private roads, and then turns around and sell those properties off individually, and the individuals that have purchased those properties, they don't necessarily know that those roads are private until they get a pothole, and then they call the city and want us to fix it. And so, just saying this from the standpoint, it becomes a buyer beware, and then it becomes a difficult situation for the city to sit there and everybody like, they call John Riggs, John, I need for y'all to fix my street. But it's a private street, and the developer chose to develop it privately, and then the developer is gone. But the citizens are looking at y'all, at us, and saying, why aren't you fixing my street? And so it becomes a tough deal. It may have been cheaper for the developer not to build the streets as wide, not to use the standards that we recommend, but in the long run, our citizens are the ones that end up being left holding the bag. And so this article, this memo is a hard line for citizens to come to us and say, I need you to fix my street. But what is the fair part for our citizens? All of our citizens is, if you live on a publicly maintained street, then we have that responsibility. But if you bought a house on a private street, then it's the responsibility of those homeowners to take care of that. Council might want to change that policy, but we might also want to require developers that they're developing in the city, they build those streets to city standards, so our citizens don't get left holding the bag. Next item I wanted to mention to you is at the last meeting, I mentioned to you that we were going to be meeting with the county to discuss the fire district. And we did meet on last Thursday. And at that meeting, a couple of things came out. First off, I'll just share with you that the county came in, and instead of submitting a proposal to us so our staff could have had a chance to review it in advance, they didn't do that, and they get into the meeting and immediately drop a plan on us without giving us any opportunity to review it in advance. Couple of things. We are currently receiving 2.7 mills for property that's located in the fire district. And that comes about $2.3 million. So what happened in the meeting and the proposal, bottom line, is that the county would like to have the funds that we now receive in order to pay for our firefighters. The $2.3 million that we're using to pay for our firefighters when we increased from 48 to 69. We did all of that with the county's knowledge that we were going to be bringing in additional firefighters.
And don't forget to add, not just to pay for those firefighters, but to also protect the 5 Mile District. We gotta add that in.
So they, and that is for, and Mayor, that is an important point, because during the conversation with the county, it was stated, well, we've been subsidizing fire protection in the city of Statesboro. That's not what happened. What the county has been doing with the fire district is they have been paying for a service. We have been providing service to everyone that lives in the 5 Mile District. Please understand this. The 5 Mile District is 96 square miles. The city is 17 square miles. The fire district is 82% of the district. The county has been paying 30% of the cost of the operation of the fire department. So what happens is the county sees these funds, and we didn't do this just willy-nilly. We met with the fire committee when y'all added 9 positions. We then, when we got SAFER grant, we sat down in 2 meetings with the county and explained to them that we were adding these 12 firefighters and that those firefighters would be paid for 3 years by the grant. At the end of that grant, we would have the full cost of those firefighters. And they knew that. And the tough part is, and I want to say this, Tom Couch was the manager at the time. And Tom knew that, and he's not here anymore. And so, but in our discussions, he wasn't the only one in the meeting. The interim county manager was in those meetings when we explained to them that at the end of 2026, we were going to have to come back and ask for additional funding to help pay for those firefighters. So what has happened is the county decided that they need to hire firefighters. So the funding that we have been receiving and been providing protection into the fire district, and I'm gonna say the fire district, but we've also been providing fire protection into the county. Right now what happens is we provide automatic aid in Bullock County. So what that means is every time there's a fire call, we have at least one engine company out of the city of Statesboro that rides into the county beyond the fire district to provide fire protection. And I can use this number to you. I can give you this, that their typical response time is anywhere from 18 to 20 minutes. The county, in the county. At the furthest limit, our response time was 13 minutes. In the fire district, our response time is at the furthest 8 minutes. In the city, we try to respond by at least 4 minutes. That's NFPA standard. That's what we're trying to do. And so what they've chosen to do is they want to take the funding that we use to pay our firefighters now and use it to build up their fire stations, hire their employees, and then we have to provide and find a way to pay for our people. So the first thing is they want to take the 2.7 mil, and they want to increase the tax to 3 mil. We didn't ask them to increase it. They want to increase it to 3 million. Then what they want to do is they want to take 60% of that 3 million, which should be about $3 million, and they would take that for themselves so that they can build up their fire department. They will leave us with 40% of the funding, and then we will have to make up the difference somewhat. So immediately, and so basically, what it says is, it really wasn't a negotiation. What it was is, this is what you get. And then on top of that, we want this, but we want automatic aid. So that means what happens is they would, automatic aid means that we would still respond. They want to split the district. They want to split the district. They take the northern part of the fire district. We take the southern part of the fire district. And they take the majority of the revenue that we asked for over 3 years ago. They take that and they fund their fire department. And then we take the balance up. And when we said, okay, so you were counting on automatic aid. And what I said to them is that I would recommend to the city council that automatic aid would go away. And when I said that, their comment was, I thought you cared about the citizens. Well, I do care about the citizens, and I do love the folks in Bullock County because I'm a Bullock County resident as well. But it's not fair to the citizens of Statesboro to subsidize fire protection in the county. It is not fair. And so I wanted to share with you, this is the outcome. So then at the end of the meeting, they wanted us to let them know by next Friday whether we were willing to do that. Please just remember the county commissioners in December voted to terminate the fire agreement effective July 1, 2025. Okay? So as of July 1, 2025, the fire district will be no longer unless we reach an agreement. We had an automatic renewal of that 5-year fire agreement. I was not going to recommend to you not to continue that agreement because it was working for us. It was working for the people that live in the fire district, and we've been providing great fire protection for all of Bullock County for at least longer than I can remember them. But now we're at a place that they want a decision, and so I did call Cindy on Friday afternoon after I talked with the mayor, and I did share with her that we would not be able to tell them by next Friday. This is an item that I have my staff working to prepare a plan for you that we will discuss at the city council retreat. And so the city council retreat will be March 14th and 15th. And so I just wanted to share with you, this is where we are. We do provide excellent fire protection in Statesboro and in Bullock County. But it's very difficult to see how we agree. And Mayor and Council, I will do whatever you ask me to do. And if you decide that you want to receive 40% of what you've been receiving, and that's what you want to do, then I will carry that message forward. Even if I recommend that you not do that, if you tell me that's what you want to do, I'm going to fulfill your wishes. But what I want to do is have our staff look at, can we operate without the funding that we receive from the county? How do we do that? Or do we need to lay off half our fire department in order to meet what the county has proposed? And so, and I will also tell you, it would pain my heart to think about recommending to you to lay off any of our employees. Because I think in the 5.5 years that I've been with you, the one thing that you have been so good about is you've taken care of your employees. And we have a class 2 fire department. Without having to provide fire protection in the district and in the county, chances are you have a class 1 fire department. And so I just wanted to share that because Ms. Barr and the mayor were there. And let me just say, it was a very contentious meeting, to say the least, very contentious. But you know, we're willing to talk with the county, but if you're negotiating, you really ought to know what the answer is going to be before you start negotiating. You shouldn't count on something that without, it would have been nice to have the chief to have sat down and talked about fire protection, but that's not the way it was done. We were called into a meeting, and I would just say, to me, it was like a setup. That's all I'd say. Thank you.
Any discussion by council in regards to that matter?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm truly at a loss for words. That's all I got to
Been
say.
involved 10 years.
That's all I got to say. I'm truly at a loss for words. Like, that is just beyond reproach. Like, that is just, I have no words.
Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Before we come any further on the fire situation, I wanted to back up to the cobblestone situation and developers or homeowners associations, in this case, coming in and asking the city to take over streets. I didn't understand this until I got on council and began to hear and learn more about it. It's not just a matter of us being picky, saying if you wanted us, you should have called us a year ago. There's a substantial expense involved because these streets are not built as wide as we would want them to be, and they're not built to the same specifications. They're not as thick, they're not as durable. So it's not just a matter of being willing to go and fill a pothole like we do on all our streets. There's a substantial difference in the standards to which they're built. And so it is kind of unreasonable for developers or homeowners associations. And like Mr. Petty said, it's kind of, talk to your realtor, check the covenants, buyer beware, ask these questions when you're looking to buy a property, because it's not fair for the city to have to come in and take care of it when it wasn't built to the right standards to begin with. So I just wanted to share that information. I was able to attend. I've been on fire committee since I was elected 5 years ago, and so I've learned a lot about the fire and services here in Statesboro as well. I want to commend Mr. Petty and, of course, the mayor working with him for being a good negotiator for the city of Statesboro, for being the ultimate professional who tries to represent all our interests and do it in a courteous, respectful, responsible manner. I secondly want to applaud the firefighters in Statesboro and Bullitt County for all their efforts to try to protect the people who live in Bullitt County. It pains me to think about all those folks who've relied on us, who live close to Statesboro but not in Statesboro, and what's going to happen to them if we can't resolve this. We want to protect all of the people the very best that we can, and it's not an equitable proposal, because what it boils down to in my mind is the proposal that's on the table now would have the city continuing to do what we've been doing about providing services to everybody in the county, and particularly serving the 5 Mile District, the 96 miles that surrounds us. The proposal now would have us continue to do that, which is well and good, and we're able to do it, but it would have us continue to do it for no reimbursement, for no help paying for that service. So it is, I understand it's not a very equitable, responsible proposal that's on the table to think you're going to continue to get the same service for 40% of the money one year and no money the next year. And that's what automatic aid would amount to. So, yeah, and I hope we can work out something more equitable, because I don't want any of us to be without the fire services we've come to rely on. Thank you, Chief Tim. You wanted to say something, Ben?
Yeah, I'll call him. I think it needs to be clear. A lot of words are being used up here. Right? Let's cut to the chase. Without the automatic aid to this area, what that means for the thousands of people that live in the fire district is that your insurance cost is about to go up tremendously, which is another form of a tax. And what we're saying is, and I'll tell you exactly what I told the county. With the growth that we're experiencing within our county, it may be wiser for the county to build infrastructure in rural areas where we have Bullitt County citizens with ISO ratings of 10, which basically means if their house catches on fire and if they can't put it out themselves, that house is, if not completely gone, close to it by the time someone is able to get there. And so we have to be abundantly clear when we're doing this. This is, at this point in time, this is just not the wisest move that we could be doing as a community, especially when we know we're about to see tremendous growth, not just inside the city of Statesboro and within the 5 Mile District, but on the south end of the county, where we got folks out in Melrose and Stilson that's dealing with these tremendously high ISO ratings. And we want to think long term, right? Long term, if we begin to build, and let me precurse this, one of my suggestions in the meeting was, let us put together a long-term fire plan where the city of Statesboro and the other municipalities come together with the county and we look at fire protection long-term throughout the entire county. And what that would allow us to do is to be able to provide some relief for those individuals that live in rural Bullitt County to get some relief via their fire insurance costs going down. Chief, we want to lean on you to provide some insight on this as well.
Sure, just a couple of things. Thank you, Ms. Barr. Thank you for your appreciation toward our staff as well as Bullitt County. I can tell you that I have made it very clear to my staff, and I'm aware that Chief Tapley has as well, is that this is not about the firefighters. This is not about the staff. This is about the two entities and which entity can provide the better service and what is for the greater good. So it has nothing to do with the staff or their training. They have excellent firefighters. We have excellent firefighters. Bullitt County's in good shape when it comes to the actual boots on the ground and their talent. So I appreciate you pointing that out. Also, just wanted to clarify the automatic aid. Again, I know Mr. Penny doesn't want to dive too deep into the weeds on this thing. We want to save it for the retreat, but the automatic aid is not the full response. So currently, right now, what our response is we respond, our full complement of staff, which is anywhere from 17 to 20, over 5 apparatus, and so it's a equitable response as we would in the city. Okay, automatic aid is in place because each of those entities, so both Bullitt County and Statesboro, receive a benefit, right? The benefit for Bullitt County is that, we respond in engine with a company, so it's, 4 folks out into the county. And then what we receive primarily now is the tanker that they can bring into the district because of, the unreliable water sources in certain areas, okay? So if regardless, how this thing all lays out, I just wanted to clarify the difference between automatic aid. So if they were to take over that portion as they have proposed,
The only thing we would be sending is one engine with a crew. It would ultimately be up there, up to Bullitt County to provide the full response and complement of firefighters needed. Now, of course, they could ask
Automatic aid.
under automatic aid. Now, again, that does not keep them from requesting more through mutual aid. It's just the automatic aid is just that. It's automatic, so both departments are dispatched at the same time for the response time and the quicker response. Again, I just wanted to make sure that you know, as we work through this, some of the particulars, that is a very important piece of one is that the automatic aid response is not equivalent to what Statesboro's full complement would be. So the only other point I wanted to make is the ISO classifications. So Statesboro is what we call a flat class 2, which means that everyone in the fire district, regardless of your proximity to water, credible water, receives that class 2. And that is because during our last evaluation, we were able to demonstrate that we can maintain 250 gallons per minute for 4 hours through water shoveling. Okay. So that allowed us to obtain that flat class 2. Bullitt County is currently what they call a split classification of a 4-4Y. And what that means is that there's in order for them to receive the class 4, a property owner to receive the class 4, there's 2 criteria that they would have to meet. One is that they would have to be within 5 road miles of a Bullitt County fire station and be within 1,000 feet of a credible, recognized water source. I can tell you through experience and dealing, working within that fire district during the last evaluation, that there are more properties that are not within 1,000 foot of a credible water source than are. So there's a lot of private systems out there. There's some drafting points, but again, this is going to have some pretty significant impacts on the folks within the district. So, like Mr. Penny mentioned, certainly willing to have those conversations, and we'll do whatever we can ultimately. But we certainly have some different viewpoints as it stands right now. Thank you.
Mayor, there's one more point, and one of the sticking points, and Timmy, Commissioner Rushing, there's a piece of the agreement that says that they cannot build within the fire district, a station. And again, I didn't negotiate that. That was part of that way back negotiations. And honestly, it's not anything that gives me a great deal of heartburn, whether they build in the fire district or not. The issue becomes having enough boots on the ground to be able to adequately fight a fire and can get to people within a reasonable amount of time. 18 to 20 minutes response time, in my book, is what it is. It is what it is.
That's correct.
But we should be trying to reduce that amount of time. So the one thing is, we're not going to fuss over whether they build a station in.
You might not. You might not. I am, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because they cannot build in that district without using money that the citizens of Statesboro provide. They can't do it. And so because the citizens of Statesboro will be paying for not only the fire service, they will also be paying for the county to build, and that's double taxation. And that's what we got to protect our people against. So
you're like that, I'm not.
So no, I would not support that, and that's why that is in there, to protect the citizens away from double taxation, because they can't build it without using our citizens' dollars. So go ahead, Mr. Penny. I'm sorry.
No, but that is one of the sticking points, and that's what Commissioner Rushing said. I'm not going to agree not to be able to build on my own property, and so. And if Mayor, if that's not negotiable, and we're not arguing. Then it is what it is, and it really seems to be better for the county just to go ahead and take over the fire district, and they can protect it as it is, and we take care of the city limits of Statesboro.
Which means, and if I'm correct if I'm wrong, if we're no longer in the fire district, what does that do for our fire rating for the city of Statesboro?
I would be cautiously optimistic that we would be able to achieve a Class 1 department.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anything further?
Let me just say thank you for educating me a bit more about, so it would not, their proposal would not require us to provide the same level of service, but we would still be required to provide the automatic aid, which is one truck. So we would be helping to protect without any reimbursement, but the people living in the 5 Mile District would not get the level of fire protection they're getting now.
That is correct. That is correct. And the automatic aid is only into those areas that would become Bullitt County's primary responsibility. So we would still, so again, the current proposal that they have laid out to us, they're taking the northern half and that would become their responsibility. That we would only respond 1 engine as we do into the county now. The southern piece would still receive the full complement and still be eligible for the Class 2. However, that's only for 1 additional year, because in that proposal it was that next year we're going to take the whole thing. That 1 year was to just buy time for them to be able to build infrastructure, because there is no, that I'm aware of, there's no county fire infrastructure as far as stations on the southern piece of the district, down 67, things of that nature, 80, probably Neville's and Brooklet are your closest departments, and they may have some substations because they have been building quite a few of those, but again, they do have some currently that are already built just outside the district on the northern half, and I think that's probably why they did it the way they did.
But Mayor, and the council, I do want to say, and we're not going to negotiate in here.
Sure. Right.
And as we said to them, automatic aid my recommendation would be that would cease.
Right. And I think that's the key piece, Mr. Penny, is that's not necessarily from my standpoint. From my standpoint, that is not a deterrent or threat necessarily. It is automatic aid has to be mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
If we are no longer servicing the district, and the biggest benefit that we are receiving is the tanker for water shuttling operations, then there's no real benefit for us to keep an automatic aid. We can go to mutual aid, and I would strongly encourage both entities to, regardless of how this thing turns out, mutual aid needs to stay in place. But yeah, it's certainly unfortunate that this is the way we're dealing with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Barrett, I just want to say, looking at it long term, as we all step back and agree, we want everybody to be protected. And so I want to say, yes, I do appreciate all of the firefighters. Nobody's bad-mouthing any firefighters anywhere. But I also can appreciate in the county making efforts to improve fire protection all over the county. And I can understand why they want this pot of money to help them do that. It's not an equitable way to do it, but I can appreciate the county wanting to improve fire services with all these people we got coming in, and the fact that there's not very good fire protection out in the county. I'm glad they're trying to improve that. It needs to be improved. And I hope we can find a way forward where they get to do that without compromising the safety of those already being protected.
And we support that too, Ms. Barr.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to voice that too, get it in the conversation.
And Ms. Bart in Southern vernacular just had a bless their heart moment. All right. With that being said, we'll move down to agenda item 12, public comments. The only person we have signed up right now is Mr. Marshall Webster. Mr. Webster, if you will.
Good afternoon, y'all. At the city council meeting last week, Councilwoman Paulette Shavers knowingly, willfully, and illegally voted to award a city contract to a firm of which her brother Donald Shavers is CEO. This was not only a breach of city law, it was a gross ethical violation, not only according to the city code, but to any common sense standard of probity demanded of elected public officials. 2 days later, I filed an ethics complaint with Mayor McCollar per the process outlined in the city code. Mayor McCollar refused to take action on this complaint and responded to me thus by email. We caught this error after the meeting and since then have taken corrective action. Councilwoman Chavers withdrew her vote via email, and the record will reflect this at the next council meeting. First of all, Mr. Mayor, you didn't catch anything. Jessica Soyagi caught it. You and Ms. Chavers just got caught, period. Councilwoman Chavers, Mr. Mayor, as any rookie policeman or first-year law student can tell you, you don't get do-overs when you break the law. Mr. Mayor, your refusal to launch the ethics investigation was itself a violation of the law. You not only tried to cover up a crime, but shirk your duties as mayor and violated the public trust. Per the city code, I forwarded the ethics complaint amended to include the mayor to Mayor Pro Tempore Sherry Barr, who also refused to launch an ethics investigation. I'm in contact with law enforcement and attorneys to figure out what the good people of Statesboro need to do next. This is not the first time I have made this council aware of improper awarding of city contracts, and it begs the question, how much corruption has gone undetected in this chamber? I intend to find out. Councilwoman Chavers, Mr. Mayor, you have demonstrated yourselves unfit for the offices you hold. I thank you for your kind attention.
Ken, is there any advice you can give to us in this matter?
Just that the mayor has received a verified complaint. I've forwarded it to Ms. Shavers. There's been responded, and we've been discussing about appointing a council member investigative committee in accordance with the code.
Okay.
It's supposed to be done within 2 days of getting the ethics complaint.
What he said is that we've been working on it, and that's what I told you in my email.
You're supposed to do it within 2 days according to the city code.
Okay, and so we've been working on this.
Working on it.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I want to
What
be
is
clear
that?
about, Mr. Marshall, you've had your time.
All right.
And so let us be clear. When we caught the error,
You didn't catch it.
we immediately addressed it. And so just like everything that we've been doing for the past 7 years of being transparent, even when we're right or wrong, that's what we continue to do now. And so we will go ahead and appoint the investigation committee. So we will do that. And it's disheartening because nowhere in my email to you, Mr. Marshall, did I say I dismissed it.
You
At all.
refused to.
No, I did not.
You refused
No, I did not.
to.
No, I did
initiate.
not. You assumed that, and then you put that in public as a lie.
No.
And Mr. Marshall, that is an issue that I don't mind anybody saying that, look, Jonathan McCullough is not perfect. But the one thing Jonathan McCullough asked is that you can defeat me with truth. You don't have to lie. And you lied to the public. You lied to the public and said that I dismissed it when we did not. When we are clearly working with our legal team to get it rectified, the same way that we've been doing for the past 7 years. And so, Mr. Marshall, I understand you have an issue with black people.
That has not got anything to do with what we're talking
Well, we can go to your page and talk and see how disparaging you are towards black
about. What does that got to do with
What
this?
it's got to do with this is that you want to criminalize everything. This thing did not become corrupt until black people got over here.
All right.
And so with that being
Now
said,
you want to cry racism.
no,
because
I
you
don't want
like what I
to.
had
You
to say.
cried racism when you came up here the last time and talked about how black people are criminals.
That's because
That's what you did, and we have
You
that.
insinuated that white people
So
were racist.
that,
and
no, I
not
did
pay
not.
taxes.
You said I said that. I never said that, and would never say that. Never. You've never heard me say that. And you want to point me out as being a racist when I'm the one in this community working to bring all people together, regardless whether they're black,
Let's just talk
white,
about this.
Hispanic, or who they choose to love.
Let's
That's
just talk
what
about
we've
this.
been
Let's
doing
not
for
talk
7
about
years.
race.
But with that being said, I want to be abundantly clear. Statesboro, this man is a plague on this city with his racist commentary. And what I'm concerned about is that the folks that allow this individual to go unchecked in this community and spread lies and division within our community with his hateful rhetoric towards African Americans. And Mr. Marshall, I don't know what is going to happen to you in your afterlife, but heaven won't be a part of it. Because if you can't love all of God's children, there's no way you're going to get in there.
I came here to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I'm here talking about you.
Awarding of the
I'm
contract.
talking about you.
All right.
Yeah. And so with that being said, Mr. Marshall, you're more than welcome anytime to come up here. And that's the thing. This black man that you hate allows you to come up here and exercise your First Amendment right to be able to say what you want to be able to say. And so with that being said, we're calling you out as a community that Marshall Webster is a hateful person that hates black people. But guess what? The God in me loves you. And that's when I see you in public, I still speak to you. When I see you here, I still wave to you. Because the God in me allows me to have pity on someone like you.
Now, can you tell me what you can do about this?
We already said that we're going to do. We already said what we're going to do. We're going to appoint the commission. Everything we do it by the law. You jump the gun, spread a lie, and now you all in social media talking about something that I did not do. And if at some point lying may not mean anything to you, but a lie means a lot to me.
I got it in your email there.
Exactly, and it's in social media. And I intently put you on an email with our attorney so you could see firsthand what we do, and you still went back and lied.
I have not seen it.
And you still went back and lied. Your morals are low. No, I'm not upset. This is God speaking in him because I'm trying to save the soul. Yeah. Yeah, with that being said, and I'm not upset, I feel sorry for the man with his Confederate flag walking out the door. I feel sorry for him. This is sad. A human being can be that low. With that being said, well, we'll move into executive session for personnel matters.